Hello humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. Well guys, I'm finally back home here, or home base I should say, and I've had a little bit more time to make a longer video. Sorry I've been jumping around and haven't had the time to properly sit down and get my thoughts out, and this is something I've been thinking about that I hadn't recorded, and it's a father's wrath. It's a father's wrath, let me tell you. Sometimes we get involved in YouTube life and we look at the situations and we're talking smack and stuff like that. But when you take it down to real life, there's a couple of things that we need to talk about here that we haven't talked about, right? Yes, we're milking the story, of course, but this is relevant, trust me. Look, there's a couple of things that I disagree with the lawyers that have said a few things on YouTube, right? And again, I'm not a lawyer here. I'm not here to give you legal advice of any kind. The only thing I'm here to do is, talk some smack, right? Share my points of view with you. And in this particular story, I think that there's a couple of things that haven't been said that need to be said, right? First of all, I disagree with law understood simply on a major point, and this is the whistleblower point. Whistleblowers are usually the person who works at the factory, right? Knowing that there's something wrong. Yes, they don't know the law, right? And they don't have to know the law like, the Moon Channel says, like, you really need to, know your shit before you say anything. No, you don't. Whistleblowers don't. They're at the core of the epicenter of whatever's wrong, right? They're not versed individuals, right? They just work at a place. If you're working in a baby milk factory and you see a lot of goats coming in and out of the facility, and you're supposed to be selling cow's milk, you don't need a law degree for that, right? You can raise your hand, and usually you're going to the authorities or you're going to the journalists to expose these stories. Now, this is where Mudahar and Carl Jobs come in, right? They're not whistleblowers. They are not the whistleblowers. They're exposing a story. They're, I guess, journalists. I don't know how they categorize themselves. I just know them as YouTubers. Probably Carl Jobs, I would say, journalist, but he was like a speedrunner, right? I don't know that they're trained journalists, right? I don't know their background. But the undressing that the Moon Channel gave them, right? And guys, even if you're a fan of this, let me tell you, I'm from the school of thought that if somebody exposes something that I did wrong, it makes me better. So having a lawyer tell you, hey, he chin checks you or checks you in a couple of points, that's free advice, man. That's free legal advice. If a lawyer talks to you, and if you're an individual like me or anybody else listening out there, and you're a lay person and a lawyer gives you an opinion, yeah, get a second, third opinion, but at least you got a free one. Usually you have to pay minimum $250 just to listen to that, right? So it is something of value even if you don't want to hear it, right? It's something you should hear. You need more people in your life that tell you what you need to know and not what you want to hear. So with that said, let me tell you something. There is no way, right, that in my personal opinion, right, and I don't know anything about law, right, but I know about family and I know about business, right, and I've seen the trajectory of this man. Very passionate man, right, has dedicated his life to his work, right, to his wife and to his work. Those were really his priorities. And here you have a charity dedicated to his wife. No matter what you want to say about the man, that was the love of his life, hands down, right? I don't think there's any disputing that. And it's that organization that he created for his wife has been affected by what his son did, right? All this spotlight came because of what Gerard did, right? Now think about that. I want you to think it as a man. I want you to think as a father, right? Even if your child did wrong, of course you scold them. Of course you try to put them in the right mind frame. But it's different for somebody else to be attacking them. Should he pay a price for what he did? Yes. Should he be held accountable? Yes. Should he be trolled for the rest of his life? You wouldn't feel that way as a father, right? And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen to Gerard, but probably that's how he feels right now, losing his YouTube channel. Now, from everything we know, his father never respected the choice of his career. His father wanted him to study a hard science, right? There's that one story, I'm paraphrasing, where Gerard couldn't make it, or was not going to be able to make it because he had a play or some shit, you know, because he had the luxury of studying acting and movie directing or whatever the fuck he studied, and still complains about it, right? Spoiled as hell in many people's opinions. He didn't respect his work. He didn't respect his work choice, right? He always held them to that standard and said, look, you decided to study this crap instead of a real job, what he would consider a real job, and that's what you get. But even with all that said, it's different when you criticize your family than have strangers coming up and criticizing your son. I don't care, you know, who you are out there. If you're a father who takes care of their family, right, and you love your family and you're there every day for them, right, and you raise them from the beginning, and they're, you know, every moment of their life they're with you, you're going to feel a certain kind of way about somebody attacking your son, even if he's a dumb shit, even if you made a mistake, right? You back up your family. There's family loyalty there, right? And I want you to think about this, right? If they continue making videos, I'm not saying that they shouldn't, guys. Don't get me wrong. They need to do whatever they need to do. But what I'm saying on the other side of it, there is no way I don't see this man taking this shit personal. Because now you're attacking the organization I founded for my wife, right? You're affecting my golf tournament that I made for, you know, the memory of my wife, and you attack my son, and you just want me to sit here and take it? Oh, hell no. Let me tell you, Gerard's dad is from a place, is doing business in a place which is famous for having some of the best killer attorneys around the area, by far, right? And this I can tell you because I worked there during college, driving a lot of these guys around from one office to another. They would just take an Uber, or from one courtroom to another. They don't drive, you know, they're not taking their expensive cars to, you know, downtown most of the time. They just don't want to wait in line. You know, they want to do X, Y, or Z. A lot of them are going back and forth. Some guys would just drive like a block and give them like $20 tip. They're just in a hurry, right? And these are the kind of individuals that he's going to have at his disposal. These are the kind of lawyers that find out who you are, where you are, what you did, what your dad did, what your mother did wrong, where you went to school, who you pissed off, who hates you, right? They're going to find out everything that anything can ever know about you. Even things that you didn't know about you, they're going to find out, right? Because, and I hope these guys are set up as business entities, right? I don't know that, but usually here in the U.S., you would set up these kind of channels that they have where they're making quite a bit of money, right? You would set them up as businesses. Because, you know, again, how do you not take it personal? These men attack your son. They attack the foundation, which is the memory of your wife. And on top of that, they make money on it. You tell me how that man is not going to take it personal if he's got to take down that golf tournament or golf event, whatever the hell you want to call it, with his business partners. There is no way he's not going to take that personal. It makes sense to me. Wouldn't you take it personal, right, out there? Even if your son did wrong, right? Even if your son did right. Now, I'm not defending Gerard in any way, guys. I'm just telling you, this shouldn't come as a surprise if this guy comes, you know, guns blazing out if his business gets affected. Because from everything that I've seen, from everything that I know from this man, he doesn't care if anybody else loses money, right? He doesn't care if Gerard's channel goes and burns in hell. He doesn't care about any of those things. But he's not going to lose money. And if these guys affect his bottom line, he's just not going to sit there and take it. And on top of that, have them, you know, affect the organization that he set up with his wife. And on top of that, have them ridicule his son. At some point, this man is going to react. That is the only thing that makes sense to me. And let me tell you, I am here for it. Because an angry dad, we all know, is capable of anything. Right? Anything. You don't know what this guy's going to do. And then on the other side, you have, you know, Carl Jobs and Mudahar Are they ready for it? Are they set up for it? Again, the Moon Channel undressed him. And, you know, whether you like it or not, he pointed out some things that are facts. He lined up and said, look, this came out straight out of here. This is out of a website that's basically, you know, Tinder for lawyers. This right here came straight out of Google, right? I don't think he would say that just off the cuff. That's what he found doing his research on these two gentlemen, right? And if you're operating with this kind of caliber of people on the other side, is this the smartest thing to do? I don't know, man. If I was, and again, not legal financial advice. I don't know what the laws in Australia or Canada are, right? But if you had me engage in this business, like if I would never do it, but if you put a gun to my head and said, you have to engage in this business, how are you going to set it up? Well, first thing I would do is set them up as limited liability companies and get myself a lawyer or somebody who's vetting whatever the hell I'm going to put out, because I do not want to get sued in any way. Now, is it hard for people to prove, for example, defamation? Yes, it's awfully hard, right? But that doesn't mean you're not going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in court. Who the hell wants to do that, right? I don't want to do that just because I'm talking shit on the internet, right? It's easier to talk about things after they happened, right? But in this case, in YouTube, there's always that line where you're just saying, this guy did this, this guy did that. These guys deal in absolutes a lot of times when they're making their opinions known on YouTube, right? Anybody can have an opinion. Right? Anybody can have an opinion. But again, here in the US also, anybody can sue. How all that's going to work out, I don't know. But the one thing I do tell you, that I don't care who you are, any man out there whose son is attacked, who the foundation that he dedicated to the love of his life, who is now gone, right, is attacked, right? Whose business is attacked by attacking that golf tournament. How the hell you think he's going to react? You think he's going to brush it off? I don't think so, baby. I think he's coming out guns blazing, and we should all be ready for it. That's right. Hit him up, because hell is coming.